All right, folks, I have another special guest joining me today. Craig Rucker is the president and co-founder of CFACT. Again, CFACT, that's the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow. I'm so excited to have him on. He's an author, speaker, and he's an expert in free market economics. Craig, welcome to the show. It's wonderful to have you today.
Oh, well, it's a real pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me, Seth.
Absolutely. So let's get right into this here, Craig. So there's an EPA proposal that may rescind an Obama-era endangerment finding from 2009, which, some historians have actually really kind of posited that this may have paved the way for the EV mandates that we've seen in the last 15 years, other environmental initiatives. What do you make of this in general? Tell our audience about what this proposal is and how it might rescind that Obama-era ruling.
Well, this is, I think it was put best by the Wall Street Journal. They made the comment that it's Independence Day from climate imperialism.
Wow.
A lot of people may be out there wondering, why in the world did Biden say we have to get rid of the internal combustion engine by the early 2030s and force us all into very expensive EVs? It's the endangerment finding. If they ask why are we have this mad rush for solar panels, wind farms, offshore wind, killing eagles, killing whales, it's the endangerment finding. In fact, this finding has been used to usher in all sorts of extreme things, that from getting rid of gas stoves to you name it, all in the name of battling climate change. Now, just to let you know where it came from, back in the early 2000s, Al Gore and many of the radical environmentalists made a proposal that they thought climate change was going to destroy the planet. We know from hindsight, many of their predictions did not come true. I mean, I'm old enough to remember back when they predicted New York City would be underwater by the year 2000, or they said that we would have to teach our children snow, what it even means to sled by the year 2014. Or back in 2006, Al Gore in his famous movie, Inconvenient Truth, said we'd have hurricanes every year, like Hurricane Katrina, starting in 2006. And we went into the longest era of no hurricanes. But nevertheless, Obama, once he took charge after George W. Bush, put in this endangerment finding and everything. It became a whole of government approach to try to transition our society from a free market capitalist one driven by government mandates. And fortunately, it took this long for science to catch up and realize these people were snowing us, for lack of a better term, a lot of the science. And they've been pushing down this thing that's hurt our economy and taking away consumer choice. It's a glorious day.
Sure is, Craig. It's funny. You had mentioned that thing about New York. I was only a little boy at the time, but I do recall seeing on social media some rather ironic images of people saying, climate change is so bad. Look at how the water levels have risen in New York City. There's a picture of Manhattan Island, and the water level is exactly the same as it was for the last 50 years. It hasn't changed 1 inch, it seems. It really is just really honestly crazy stuff here. So it looks like the Trump administration is trying to roll this back. How are they doing this, Craig?
Well, the first thing they're doing is they're going to tackle the science, which I think is very important. They're putting in some absolutely outstanding scientists with impeccable credentials, people like Judith Curry from Georgia Tech. They have 2 NASA scientists, John Christie and Roy Spencer. They have Steve Koonin, who was actually an Obama scientist. He was one of Obama's top scientists, now saying this is bunk. And they released a report on the same day they're doing this to show that what they're doing is it's not going to dirty our air. Carbon dioxide, what they're going after with these greenhouse gases, is not the same as what the EPA's been charged with, which is, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone. These are real pollutants that can cause human health. Carbon dioxide is the gas that makes life on Earth possible. It's plant food. You could breathe in much higher levels than we have today, at about 400 parts per million. You could breathe in 2,000 parts per million. It does nothing. And the reason we know this is because astronauts actually live in an environment of 2,000 parts per million. Submarines operated that way. People are not harmed by CO2 like they are harmed by these other pollutants. So they took on the science, released a great study at the Department of Energy. They're allowing for comment on it, and they're going to piecemeal roll this back, first dealing with cars, then airplanes, power plants, and it's very well thought out. And I got to give Lee Zeldin at EPA great credit for the style and thoroughness with which he's going after this.
And so then, Craig, in your estimation, what kind of impact could this have for everyday everyday citizens of this country. I can imagine, my hope is that we would start to be seeing an impact in our wallets. How might this impact us?
Well, it will impact you first and foremost that we don't have to buy electric vehicles. I mean, I just bought one, a I'm sorry, Chevy Equinox, and I got it for just under 40K. I'd have to spend almost 80K to get that car if they had mandated it, right? By the
Mm.
year 2030. So you're going to see cutbacks in that. You're going to see more consumer choice. You don't have to get rid of your gas stoves. There's all sorts of things that it should save money on. I think in it's what it's not going to do, and I think this is the most important thing because you're going to hear a lot of scary talk from the environmental community. That's the Al Gores and those types of people. They're going to say you're cutting back on clean air and clean health. You're not. They are not. We have cleaner air today than we've ever had, and all the major pollutants have gone down 80% since the 1970s, and they're continuing to plummet. So what you're not going to see is dirtier air, just more consumer choice and less government regulation.
And Craig, this is somewhat of a perhaps regional specific question, but I know it's something I've dealt with, and I'm sure we have listeners who have dealt with this as well. Every time I have to get my truck inspected, I have to do that goofy emissions test along with it. I know certain states don't do that as much, but in the state that I'm in, they do. Could we potentially be seeing a walk back of even those things as well? I know it's a small thing, but every time I get it inspected, it's like, I got to have the emissions test again. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, no, I don't think it'll impact that,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I wish that it could, but
Yeah.
those types of emissions are actually ones that regulate the ones that EPA has long regulated since the original Clean Air Act of 1970. Carbon dioxide, what it did save you is they probably would have started regulating your emissions of carbon dioxide, and
Yeah.
that would have been much more expensive.
Brutal.
So at the moment, you're still going to have to put up with those.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Craig, that's really, really good news. What else is the Trump team doing in general to kind of right these wrongs from the environmental silliness from the former Democrat admins that really kind of gets you and your team excited? I'm sure this isn't the only thing.
Oh, yeah, no, there's been an absolute war on farmers and ranchers. A lot of government land has been put aside now and bought up even by China. They're not allowing that anymore. They're not going to allow some of these multi-billionaires to chew up farmland and just put it into conservation easements and things of that sort. A lot of these very dangerous, these pipelines that they're putting in for carbon sequestration, this is designed to battle CO2. Those are not going forward as they were before, and a lot of them are being rolled back. So I'm seeing on that we're out of the Paris Accord is another biggie. This would have locked us into an international treaty that allows China and India to continue to belch out CO2, and all of our heavy industries move to China and other places like in India around the world, and we'd lose American jobs from that. They're rolling that back too. So I think you're going to see good things from the automakers. You're going to see good things from American domestic energy production that will see prices go down at the gas pump. So I think we're going to see a renaissance in America based on some of these environmental and energy policies that are a long time coming for those of us in the free market environmental field. But it's a joyous day.
Yeah, absolutely, Craig. Well, it's been your first time on the show, and I've greatly appreciated this conversation. I want to give you the chance as well to tell our audience about CFACT and the work that you do there, specifically your role as you guys promote free market economics. What do you guys do?
Yes, we are an environmental group. We actually share, like your audience, we're kind of based on traditional Western values, Judeo-Christian values. We believe that the environment is something that we've been trusted to steward, but we don't think it should be worshipped. And we have free market beliefs. We're comprised mostly of a conservative/libertarian mindset, and we've been around since 1985. We have a board of academic and scientific advisors that guide our policies, and we work on the whole gamut of environmental issues. But we do not agree with Greenpeace, Al Gore, Greta Thunberg, AOC, and others who believe that the environment should always be given preference over human needs and human aims. We are part of God's design in the entire creation, and we would like to be able to steward it as it properly has been given in Genesis 1:28, where we were given dominion over the fish in the air and the birds, but we rule over them. They don't rule over us. So,
Yeah, amen.
but we do have to steward it. So that's kind of our viewpoint, and we'd encourage people to find out more by visiting us at cfact.org. That's cfact.org. Again, that's cfact.org.
cfact.org. Craig, I really appreciate you coming on, brother, and you hit the nail on the head throughout this whole interview, especially at that ending point there. This really is a stewardship issue, and we want to be good stewards of everything that God has given to us. On this show, it's often about money, but it is true about the world that He's given us as well, the environment, making sure that we treat this world well, but not making it into a god. And what a great reminder that God placed us as sub-regents over this place. Craig, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I hope that we can do this in the future too. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, again, that's Craig Rucker, president and co-founder of CFACT. Again, cfact.org, cfact.org to learn more. More financial issues on the way right around the corner after this break here. We'll be right back. Stick with us.